Hey everyone, my name is Jared Evans. I'm a fellow strategic communications graduate student with you all here at Liberty University. And today I'm going to be talking about motivation in the workplace. So, motivation in the workplace is a tactic that many leaders struggle with. The workplace is comprised of many different individuals, all with different backgrounds and personalities. And to truly be able to motivate every type of individual, a leader must learn different strategies and ways to utilize them. Not everyone responds to the same types of motivation, which is why it's important for leaders to know more about their team and see what works and what doesn't. And learning more about motivation in the workplace and how to motivate individuals is what leaders need to do in order to succeed. And we want to have a successful work environment. And basically, I'm going to be talking about motivation, current strategies, and how leaders can implement them into the workplace. So, a little bit about motivation, a little background. There are three methods. We have the traditional method, the human relations, and the human resource. So the traditional method is also known as the scientific method. It's the earliest method, dates back over a century. It assumes all people are motivated by money, even though unpleasant conditions exist. It basically just states that workers are merely motivated by the dollar. The human relations method, on the other hand, dates back to the 1920s. It was studied a little bit more by Elton Mayo and his colleagues. It implies that workers need to feel valued as well, and employees want more than just a paycheck. The final method is the human resource, and that started appearing in the 1950s. It implies decisions are better made when those involved directly have an input. So leaders basically need a consensus from team members when using this method because, again, decisions are made off input, and doing this will have workers feeling a sense of contribution, even making them feel proud to work for the organization. Some innovations to the workplace. Diversity has recently been, the biggest innovation to the workplace. Organizations are beginning to diversify. They bring in different nationalities, ethnicities, and even LGBTQ community members. Diversifying is the key to organizations for unlimited potential, as this opens doors previously thought to be closed, presenting new opportunities and challenges. Another innovation, the growth of social media. Statista reports that 2.77 billion users are on social media, and workers have to strategize for this as they've begun de-incentivizing social media use for their employees. And it's because of the nature of social media that businesses actually even have to strategize. We all know that workers, when posting about their companies on social media, it can usually go one way or the other, and that's why we know that changes have to be made in the organization. Leaders have to learn what works best for them and what doesn't work, which is why organizations and companies have to create social media strategies now. And a final innovation is that individuals are currently feeling more empowered now than ever, and leaders need to be aware of that. Basically, today's environment, teaches us all that we have a voice. It's stated in the European Journal of Information Systems. Social media enables the once powerless to voice their opinions within many different environments. So obviously, that's a pretty deep saying, you could say. Social media does enable not just the powerless, but everybody in a sense. And social media gives everybody a voice. And using networks like Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, these are all voices that organizations have to be aware of and that they have to strategize for because workers are going to use them, and leaders have to be prepared for that. Some current strategies. So, a quote if you're following along in the presentation. Motivation factors like achievement, recognition, and responsibility, on the other hand, directly affect the motivation of the worker and making it higher or lower according to whether or not the manager is using a particular strategy to stimulate the worker's desire. So, having said that, current strategies for motivations in the workplace closely relate to the human relations approach. Leaders must utilize these different strategies depending on the employee and the situation that you're dealing with. Diversity and empowerment of employees is a current strategy often used, making for an effective workplace. So, obviously, with diversity and empowerment, leaders must be able to manage employees' attitudes and behaviors now better than ever. It's a pretty big deal, and leaders have to be aware of it. So, we're going to move forward, talk about a few studies that have shown results within the workplace. Dr. Teresa Nuff, she is a psychologist, and She conducted a study in 2002 between lawyers and their colleagues, and it showed that employees wanted to be respected in the workplace and that there was a slight disconnect between superiors and subordinates. She states respect and positive recognition from the employer were almost as important to the staff as salary and retirement benefits. Eve Ash, a motivational psychologist and founder of 7 Dimensions, also found that employees are driven by motivation and respond to the example set out by leaders. She says, remember as leaders that we've got to show our passion, we've got to keep that energy up so that people are drawn like a current with us. Basically, her studies kind of focus on leaders in organizations and how that everything kind of rests with the leaders' shoulders, and they have to be the ones to set examples. One final study, Sean Aker, a psychologist, links productivity in the workplace to happiness, further inclining us to believe in the human relations approach. He states, if you can raise somebody's level of positivity in the present, then their brain now experiences what we call a happiness advantage, which is your brain at positive performs significantly better than it does at negative, neutral, or stress. He's basically stating that every time that you're motivated in the workplace, it creates this environment for you to do better and how you want to achieve more. And that's basically what all these studies are saying, is that currently we're all inclined to believe the human relations theory more than anything. So, suggestions for further research. Individuals have a need for empowerment, and having said that, we need to study empowerment more. How do blue-collar workers become empowered? A lot of blue-collar workers work in plants 12 hours a day, and how are we making sure that they feel empowered, that they have a voice? How are they motivated? Because oftentimes we believe in the human relations theory and the human resource when it's your normal 8 to 5 job. And the human resource approach needs to be studied more to see if leaders can use a strategy to be successful other than the human relations approach. And I think I got that mixed up. I meant the human resource approach needs to be studied more. And because obviously the human relations approach is currently what's being used in our environment, so the human resource needs to be studied quite more. In conclusion, so past studies may show that the traditional approach may have been the primary before, but not the case anymore. Individuals, employees, and their need to feel empowered and respected are shown in modern studies. This makes the human relations approach the new primary. So it's been proven within the constraints of modern society, motivation increases productivity. A happier individual will be more productive, which leads to more profits for organization. This reason alone is why motivation is so important in the workplace today. Motivation within is now the key to success, and organizations are responsible for building this type of culture. Though further research should be done, we can unequivocally claim that motivation in the workplace leads to success. And I hope that you all have gotten something out of this. I think I went a little bit over the time. I hope that's okay. And I thank you all for listening. Hope you have a good one.